In this audio clip, you can hear the sound of seagulls and whales as they breach the surface of the water. There's so much to learn about both these organisms and their relationship to each other and their ecosystems. To start off, whales play a vital role in the marine ecosystem as they help provide at least half of the oxygen you breathe, combat climate change, and sustain fish stocks. How do they do it? By providing nutrients to phytoplankton. Drifting in the ocean's sunlight waters lives a microscopic forest of tiny plant-like organisms called phytoplankton. Like plants on land, phytoplankton needs the sun's energy, water, carbon dioxide, and nutrients like iron and phosphate to photosynthesize, a process which provides them with food and the planet with oxygen and a means to fight climate change. As the base of the marine food web, phytoplankton is a key component in sustaining fish stocks, and as they take in CO2, phytoplankton sequesters hundreds of thousands of tons of carbon each year, helping to fight climate change. Phytoplankton feed zooplankton, tiny animals that live in surface waters, and both are critical food sources for many marine species such as krill, and other marine invertebrates, fish, and even marine mammals, including whales. Unlike plants on land, phytoplankton cannot root in the ocean bottom to retrieve the nutrients they need. Whales releasing fecal plumes near the surface, and by doing so, are supplying phytoplankton with life-giving nutrients like iron, nitrogen, and phosphorus. A remarkable process described as a whale pump. When whales die, they sink to the seabed. They become whale falls. And like phytoplankton, they take vast amounts of carbon with them, helping to balance our climate. However, researchers estimate that because of whaling, large whales now store approximately 9 million tons less carbon than before large-scale whaling. Not only an important carbon sink, but whale falls also become mini ecosystems, supporting deep-sea organisms for decades. According to scientific literature, whale falls create habitat islands benefiting scavengers like sharks and hagfish, crustaceans, gastropods, bivalves, clams, shrimp, anemones, bacteria, and many other marine organisms, including some species that are unknown. Overwhaling, though, can drastically affect an ecosystem by causing increased carbon dioxide levels, which contributes to global warming and leads to the melting of polar ice caps and changes in the eating habits of many marine animals. The rise in carbon dioxide will also affect many other ecosystems in the ocean. The whale pump will slow down and therefore decrease phytoplankton populations. Phytoplankton is also a main food source for many species, and it's important for fish to be healthy and thriving. Scientists have determined that the slaughter of whales in the Southern Ocean caused a long-term decline in primary production, which, in turn, caused the krill population to plummet to as low as 20% of pre-industrial whaling levels. The relationship between whales and seagulls, or any other marine bird, is commensalism. Commensalism is a type of symbiotic relationship, where one species will benefit while not affecting the other species in a positive or negative way. An example of this is humpback whales feeding. Humpback whales are known to be bubble feeders, meaning that they send massive bubbles to the surface, forcing schools of fish to travel upwards. The whale will then rise with their mouths agape and breach while taking in mouthfuls of the fish. Birds close to the shore take advantage of this by feeding on the large schools of fish right by the surface. I believe this audio clip is demonstrating this association between birds and whales. The loss of whales would also affect marine bird populations because they aid in their feeding. Without this one species, numerous ecosystems would fall apart or have to learn to adapt. Without whales, the carrying capacity of many ecosystems could possibly fall because of the loss of a major source of nutrients. Whales are also considered a keystone species because they keep the number of krill in balance, which in turn keeps the number of phytoplankton in balance. The number of phytoplankton is important because they're at the bottom of the food pyramid for marine animals. This interplay between whales, phytoplankton, and the atmosphere is key to sustaining a healthy ocean planet. In Maka belief, as in many Arctic cultures, whales weren't just taken. They willingly gave themselves to human communities. A whale that offered its body wasn't sentencing itself to death. It was choosing to be killed by hunters who had demonstrated through good behavior and careful adherence to rituals that they would treat its remains in a way that would allow it to be reborn. Whales were also thought to live in an underwater society paralleling that above the sea. For years, scientists believed that whales couldn't smell, despite the fact that indigenous hunters claimed the smell of wood smoke would drive a whale away from their camp. Eventually, a scientist dissecting a whale skull proved the animals did indeed have the capacity to smell. So much can be learned by looking at indigenous cultures, beliefs, and histories.